What is going on, everyone? My name is Carter, and today I'll be sharing with you the second part of my Genlocke, where I play through Pokemon Crystal. I'm sure there's at least one person right now asking themselves, Carter, what's a Genlocke? It's a little weird that you're asking that on the second video in a series, but I'll explain anyway. A Genlocke is a complete Nuzlocke playthrough of every generation of Pokemon from Generation 1 through, as of now, Generation 9. I'll only be allowed to catch one Pokemon per route in each game, and if a Pokemon dies, it's dead forever. I won't be able to use that Pokemon in any future generation, so deaths can really cost me if I'm not careful. Additionally, the surviving members of my Hall of Fame team will be brought into the next generation as my starting team, though they'll be brought back to their pre-evolved state. Past that, I'll be following the traditional hardcore Nuzlocke rules: no items in battle outside of held items and Pokeballs to catch encounters, no overleveling the next gym leader's ace, and I'll always be playing on set mode. Moving into Crystal, we have 5 very good Pokemon joining us right at the start of the game. We have Amethyst the Ghastly, Sapphire the Lapras, Ruby the Magikarp, Amber the Aerodactyl, and Hamburgite the Snorlax. They'll be hanging out in the PC until we get access to one. Additionally, we did have 2 deaths, Venusaur and Beedrill, so both of those lines will be removed from any potential encounters. With the rules out of the way, let's begin the run. New Barktown. To some, the start to the best Pokemon games. To me, it's another stepping stone on our journey. I say goodbye to my mom and go meet with Professor Elm. He gives us our first new member of the team, Garnet the Cyndaquil, and we set out to do a fetch quest for him. On the way back, we run into a long-haired kid who challenges us to a fight. After a few turns, Garnet takes out his Totodile, and we make it back to Professor Elm to deliver the egg. The police are waiting there, and we tell them about Angelo, the kid we beat up along the way back. Elm is shocked that Pokemon lay eggs, which seems really odd for a man who's devoted his entire life to studying Pokemon to not know. Anyway, the basic fetch quest is out of the way, and we can finally start adding new team members to the box. Similar to the first video, I won't be going over every encounter, just the ones that are relevant. On our way to Violet City, we pick up Tanzanite the Rattata, Diamond the Geodude, and Quartz the Zubat. We beat up the Sages in Bellsprout Tower, level up the team to the level cap, and head into the gym to get our first badge. With multiple rock types, Falkner should be as free as it can be. But his Pidgey connects multiple Mud Slaps on Diamond, so we pivot to Hamburgite to take out Pidgey, and Sapphire comes in to take out Pidgeotto. With that, we have 1 out of 16 badges down. After taking out Falkner, we're heading to take on Bugsy, and with that, a few more encounters. Opal the Togepi, Emerald the Bellsprout, Onyx the Onix, and finally, Aquamarine the Slowpoke. We clear out Team Rocket from Slowpoke Well and head into the gym. Once again, we have a slew of rock types, so Bugsy should be absolutely free. Onix comes out for us and just completely bodies his team. Metapod does nothing, Scyther connects 2 Fury Cutters for a whopping 10 damage, and then Kakuna does nothing to us as well. Easy second badge. On the way into Ilex Forest, Angelo ambushes us. He leads Ghastly and we lead Diamond. Ghastly connects a Hypnosis and a few Licks as we snooze. Eventually, Diamond wakes up and connects a Magnitude 7 to take him out. Croconaw comes out, so we pivot to Sapphire on a Water Gun. A few Body Slams later, and Zubat is out. A couple more Body Slams, and we win the fight. Time for a few more encounters before our next badge. And now that we have the Headbutt TM, we have a few more options as well. We have Adamite the Spearow, Econite the Paris, and Jet the Abra. Now, it's time for one of the most hated gym fights of people's childhoods. Whitney and her Miltank. We lead Amber into Clefairy. A couple wing attacks later, and Miltank comes out and immediately goes for a rollout. Luckily, Amber clutches up and gets a couple headbutt flinches, so this fight is cleaned up. I don't know why people struggled so much with this fight growing up. Aerodactyl just hardwalls her. The map opens up so much before Morty, so we get so many encounters here. These encounters include Tiger's Eye the Eevee, Pyrite the Magnemite, Adventurine the Execute, Malachite the Poliwag, and Iolite the Coughing. We had to go get Morty out of the burned tower, and in doing so we run into Angelo once again. Angelo leads Haunter and we lead Sapphire. He goes for a curse, which then allows Sapphire to take him out with a Surf, and in comes Magnemite. We bring in Hamburgite safely on his Miss Supersonic. A few tackles later, and Hamburgite is dead to another Sonic Boom plus Confusion self-hit, so we pivot into Tiger's Eye, who's been evolved into an Umbreon. A couple more tackles puts him into the red, and they connect with another Supersonic. To play safe, we swap into Quartz, who's now a Crobat, and take out Magnemite with a Bite. Zubat comes in for Angelo. Bite does about a quarter, and he connects with a Confuse Ray. Playing it safe, we pivot into Amber on a Bite, and take him out with a follow-up Headbutt. Last out for Angelo is his Croconaw, so we bring in Ruby on a Water Gun. Surf doesn't do a lot, nor does Bite, but we eventually chip down Croconaw after a few turns. Time to beat up Morty. He leads his Ghastly, and we lead Quartz. Bite picks up a clean one-hit KO, and Morty's first Haunter comes out. Bite does about 70%, and Haunter takes himself out with a curse. Gengar is next, and we go for a Bite for about 30% and get the flinch. After seeing how little we did with Bite, it's probably best to pivot to get rid of the curse, so we pivot into Tiger's Eye on a Hypnosis that connects. This is the point where I realized that Tiger's Eye doesn't actually have a Dark-type move to hit Gengar, so I pivot into Diamond, who's now a Graveler, in on a Shadow Ball. Gengar's next Hypnosis misses, so Magnitude 9 takes him out. Last out for Morty is his second Haunter. A Nightshade isn't enough to take out Diamond, but his follow-up Magnitude 8 is enough to KO the Haunter and win us our fourth gym badge. With our newest gym badge in hand, we head to the Lake of Rage and take out the shiny Gyarados. Lance is hanging out at the shore, and after talking to him, we follow him to the Rocket hideout to thwart their plans as usual. Together we take out the electrodes powering their machine, and then we head west to Olivine to clear out the lighthouse. Before the next gym fight, we do get a couple encounters. I finally hatch the egg from the daycare to get us Lowlight the Tyrogue, and pick up Sodalite the Tentacool on our way to Cianwood. Once we hit Cianwood, we immediately head into the gym to get our fifth badge. First up for Chuck is his Primeape, and we lead Jet. Psybeam is enough for the one shot, and out comes Poliwrath. Psybeam does about 70%, and Poliwrath misses a Hypnosis. So with that, another Psybeam picks up the KO and secures us our next badge. I haven't talked about it yet, but man, the Johto gyms are really disappointing. There are so many cool designs being added into Gen 2, and instead, 1 out of the 5 gym leaders that we fought up to at this point even have a Johto Pokemon on their roster. How hard would it actually be to have given Falconer a Natu, or Bugsy an Ariados, or Chuck a Heracross or Hitmontop? And God forbid we actually give Morty the one Ghost type added in this generation. Gen 2 is just a missed opportunity on so many fronts. With the rant over, we can pick up Fly from Chuck's wife, grab the secret potion, and head back to the lighthouse to give it to Amphi so Jasmine can go back to her gym. But it's not time to fight Jasmine. For some reason, the level cap in Crystal means the 7th gym is actually a lower level than the 6th, so we're going to go head back and fight Price. First out for Price is his Seal, and we lead Pyrite. Thundershock does enough to put him into red, and he connects with an Icy Wind to lower our speed. The follow-up Thundershock finishes off Seal, and Dugong comes out next. Dugong connects with a not very effective Aurora Beam, and our Thundershock paralyzes, allowing us to outspeed the next turn. Our second Thundershock puts Dugong into the red, as he connects with another Aurora Beam. A third Thundershock connects to pick up the KO, and Price's Ace Piloswine comes out. We swap to Sapphire as Piloswine goes for a Mist. The next turn, Sapphire outspeeds and picks up the KO with a single Surf. 6 badges down, but the boss rush isn't over yet. Next up is Jasmine, who leads her first Magnemite into Garnet. Flame Wheel picks up the easy KO, and immediately out comes the big threat for her, her Steelix. We pivot Ruby in on a rock throw, which does about a quarter. Surf connects to bring her ace down low, and Steelix sets up a sunny day. Jasmine uses a hyper potion to bring Steelix back up to full as our second Surf doesn't even bring him down to the yellow. Realizing how little we did, I don't like the position we're in, so I pivot Ruby out into Pyrite, anticipating another rock throw. But instead Steelix connects with a Screech. We pivot once again, bringing in Sapphire on an Iron Tail that conveniently misses. Our Surf connects and is actually enough to pick up the KO, even with the sun still being up. Last out for Jasmine is her second Magnemite, so we swap into Garnet on a Supersonic that also misses, meaning our Flame Wheel is free to connect and get us our 7th badge. As soon as we leave the gym, Professor Elm calls to say that there's some weird things going on with the radio, but this is also the man who didn't know Pokemon lay eggs, so he may not actually know what's going on. I assure him I'll get it checked out, and the team and I head back to Goldenrod City to check it out. Surprisingly, Professor Elm is actually right, and Team Rocket has taken over the radio tower. Eventually we make it to the director's office, only for him to not be there, being replaced by one of the Rocket executives. Amber and Pyrite make quick work of him, and he tells us the real director is in the underground, so we hightail it there. As soon as we step inside, we get ambushed by Angelo. He wants to fight, and he throws out his Golbat, and I bring Amber out. Ancient Power picks up the Oko, and he brings out Magnemite. I pivot into Garnet on a Thunder Wave. His Sonic Boom doesn't do a ton, and we break through Paralysis to hit the one-shot with the Flame Wheel. Angelo sends out his now fully evolved Feraligatr, so I go to Pyrite on a Water Gun. The next turn we outspeed and hit a Thundershock for over half, and get the Para, as Feraligatr connects with a Scary Face. Thanks to the Para, we still outspeed, so our second Thundershock is enough to get the KO, which brings out Haunter. I decide to stay in, and thanks to his mean look, we aren't going to be able to swap out next turn either. Thundershock connects for what looks like exactly half. Shadow Ball comes out and does a whole 8 damage. Our second Thundershock does enough to get the knockout. Angelo sends out his last Mon, a Sneasel. But Sneasel is really, really bad in Gen 2, so Garnet comes in and wins us the fight with another Flame Wheel. After that minor inconvenience, the team fights through the rest of the grunts down here, and we finally make our way to find the real director. He gives us the card key to access the other half of the radio tower, so I think it's time we finish up this little side quest. At the top of the tower is another few fights against some more executives, but Amber tears through them like a hot knife cutting through butter. The director comes back after we do all the hard work, giving us a clear bell for our effort, and we head out to go get our 8th badge. After restructuring the team sum and fighting through the gym trainers, we are finally able to challenge Claire, who leads on her first Dragonair. We lead Malachite, and Ice Punch brings Dragonair down to the red, and she connects with a Thunder Wave. Her follow-up Slam connects for some damage, and we hit the second Ice Punch to pick up the KO. Her second Dragonair comes out, and her Thunderbolt does really big damage, but we connect with the Hypnosis. On the first turn of sleep, we break through Paralysis again, and hit an Ice Punch. To play it safe, I bring in Jet, who's now an Alakazam, on the next turn. And it pays off as Dragonair wakes up and hits another Thunderbolt. We outspeed, so it's safe to go for a KO here with the Psychic, and Claire brings in her third Dragonair. Jet is just too good and picks up the Oko with an Ice Punch, which brings out Claire's ace, her Kingdra. Psychic does just about half as she fires off a Hyper Beam, which Jet clutches up and lives on exactly 1 HP. Because of the Hyper Beam, Kingdra has to recharge next turn, which means it's completely safe for us to stay in and go for another Psychic, which picks up the KO, securing our 8th badge. In hindsight, I completely forgot that Kingdra had Hyper Beam here, and it really almost cost me my best Mon. I'm going to need to focus up and really think before acting if I want to keep Jet safe. Claire is a sore loser and won't give us our badge, saying something about we have to prove ourselves worthy or something, which I thought that's what the gym fight was for, but I don't know. I head into the Dragon's Den and talk to the Elder, which says he's not really surprised by Claire doing all of this, and gives us a quiz about Pokemon relations, which we obviously pass, much to Claire's surprise. She comes to her senses and gives us our badge. Like, seriously, that's all I wanted, Claire. After that waste of time, we can finally go to the Pokemon League to fight the Elite Four. One uneventful trip later, and we end up in Victory Road, where, once again, Angelo ambushes us. Due to his teenage angst, he wants to fight us to prove he's better than us, which history shows just isn't true. He sends out his Sneasel first, and we lead Malachite. His Screech connects, and then he dodges our Hypnosis. A quick attack does some chip damage, and our second Hypnosis connects. As Sneasel snoozes, we connect with a couple Surfs to take him out, bringing in Magneton. I bring in Garnet as they connect with a Thunder Wave. Their Thundershock crits to do some decent damage, but Garnet breaks through Paralysis to connect with the Flame Wheel to get the KO. This brings in Angelo's Feraligatr, so I go to Jet on a Water Gun. Thunder Punch connects for a bunch, and Scary Face connects to cut our speed in half. This means that Feraligatr is free to outspeed us next turn and connects with a Slash, which crits. And just like that, Jet goes down. To reflect on this, I was distracted at the time. I rushed into this fight and didn't bring a proper counter to Feraligatr. I was busy watching YouTube and was distracted and just missed the Scary Face. That doesn't make up for the fact that I just lost easily the best Pokemon in my box, but it gives a reason. A reason that is completely my fault. But we still have a fight to get through. I bring in Ruby, and a Strength picks up the Revenge KO. Angelo sends out his Golbat, Confuse Ray connects, and Ruby hits himself in confusion. The following turn, Ruby moves first, which means we're speed tied. Surf does about a third, and Golbat hits a wing attack. I bring in Amber on another wing attack for basically no damage. We then outspeed and pick up the KO with an Ancient Power, which brings out Haunter next. Ancient Power does really good damage to him, and he takes himself out by putting a curse on Amber. Last out for Angelo is his Kadabra, but we simply outspeed and KO with another AP. With that, Angelo is down for the count, and we have made it to the league. A quick team building session later, and I've settled on these 6. Amber the Aerodactyl, Onyx the Steelix, Malachite the Politoed, Garnet the Typhlosion, Sapphire the Lapras, and Emerald the Victory Bell. I feel confident that we have solid answers for everything in the league. We just have to play well and we can come out victorious. First up for the Elite Four is the Psychic type Master, Will. He leads Xatu as we lead Amber. Ancient Power is enough for the one-shot, and Jinx comes out next. I bring Garnet in on a 3-hit double slap for next to no damage, allowing us to hit a Flame Wheel. Her Psychic does good damage though, but since Will doesn't heal the next turn, our next Flame Wheel is enough to take out Jinx. Will brings out his Slowbro to counter. I go to Emerald on an Amnesia. Sleep Powder connects, so we get a free turn to hit a Razor Leaf. But Slowbro could seriously wake up and smashes Emerald with the Psychic, which is enough to take us out. I'm genuinely shocked by this. I expected to be able to take one, but evidently that wasn't an option. If I had a nickel for every time I lost a Grass type to the first member of the Elite Four, I'd have 2 nickels. It's not a lot, but it is weird that it's happened twice. This loss sends me into a little bit of a panic in all actuality. I really don't have a good answer for a +2 special defense Slowbro, but I've got to steady myself if I'm going to win this. I bring in Malachite to try to put this thing back to sleep, but our Hypnosis misses and he sets up a curse. A second Hypnosis misses as well, and Malachite tanks a Psychic. Another Hypnosis miss, and Slowbro sets up another curse. Finally, we connect with the Hypnosis, and now I've got to get good sleep luck here, because I'm going to need several turns to take this thing out. Surf and Body Slam aren't doing much, but then Slowbro wakes up and hits a massive Body Slam. This is not good at all. I pivot into Garnet on another Body Slam, but this brings him down into the red, so I'm not safe here either. I pivot into Sapphire on another Body Slam, and hit a Whirlpool to start doing some chip damage every turn, as his next Body Slam unfortunately gets the Paralysis. His next Body Slam brings us low, and we connect with an Ice Beam for some more chip damage. If Sapphire can take just one more body slam, I think I can take the Slowbro out with another Ice Beam. And Sapphire clutches up on 2 HP, hits through Paralysis, and finally takes out this Slowbro. But Will isn't done yet. He brings in his Exeggutor, and my team is not looking great. Amber and Onyx are at full HP, but the rest of the team is really low. I bring in Amber, who takes a Psychic okay. We go up for a Fly, dodging a hit for a turn. Fly connects and brings Eggy really low. But more importantly, gets the flinch thanks to our held King's Rock. Bite finishes off the Egg Boy, and last for Will is his second Xatu, which with a single Ancient Power, we take out and win the fight. This went so bad for us, and it's just the first fight at the Elite Four. Surely, this is as bad as it gets, right? Next up is Koga. He claimed the first death of the run, but this time it's going to be different. Ariados and Garnet are our leads. A single Flame Wheel picks up the KO, and he brings in Fortress, which is just another easy KO with a Flame Wheel. Next up is Muck, so I pivot to Onyx as he sets up a Minimize. A second Minimize means our Rock Throw misses, allowing the full HP Muck to set up an Acid Armor, as we miss yet another Rock Throw. I'm pretty sure Muck can't actually hurt Onyx, so it's just a matter of time before we crit to take it out, which eventually, after far too long, we do with a critical hit Iron Tail. But Koga isn't done playing dirty, as his Venomoth comes out and hits the Supersonic, immediately paying off for him as Onyx hits herself. His following Psychic doesn't do a lot, and Onyx breaks through Confusion to hit a Rock Throw for about half. The next turn is more of the same, Psychic for Chip, and Rock Throw for the KO. This brings in Koga's last Mon, his Crobat, who immediately starts going for Double Team. Onyx is choosing Violence though, breaking through Confusion and hitting a Rock Throw for way less than I would have hoped. Crobat continues to set up his evasion, as Onyx finally gets rid of her Confusion and hits another Rock Throw, bringing Crobat to just below half. The following turn, Koga goes for a full restore as we miss a Rock Throw. Crobat connects a Wing Attack for a little damage as we connect a Screech. Several turns go by as Crobat continues to set up and hit an occasional Wing Attack, while Onyx misses just everything. This is turning for the worst very quickly. Eventually, Onyx hits a Rock Throw for over half, but we are really low on health. I pivot into Amber on another weak Wing Attack, and somehow, some way, Amber immediately hits a Headbutt and ends this fight. That could have gone so much worse than it actually did, and we are very lucky to make it through deathless. Next up for us is Bruno, who leads Hitmontop into Amber. He goes for a Quick Attack as we go up for a Fly, only to run into a Detect next turn, so that plan's not going to work. Headbutt does close to a third as he goes for a Pursuit for very little damage. His Quick Attack just isn't going to do much, and our next Headbutt is going to take him out, and Onyx comes in. We go for a Bite for about a third, and his Rock Slide does a lot, so I send out Malachite on another one for much less. Our Surf is clearly enough to take him out, so Hitmonchan comes in to replace him. Hitmonchan does way more than I would like with a Mach Punch, and we do way less than I would like with a Surf. Hoping for a Thunder Punch, I go into Onyx, but instead get another Mach Punch. Fire Punch brings us just to above half, and Onyx connects with an Iron Tail, which is enough to take him out. This brings in Hitmonlee. I pivot into Garnet on a double kick, doing about a third. We outspeed on the next turn, hitting a Flame Wheel, which gets the burn as his Swagger misses. I pivot back into Amber on another double kick. Thanks to the burn, it doesn't do a lot though. A few turns later, our Fly connects to take him out, bringing in Bruno's ace, Machamp. I don't think a Fly is going to be enough to take him out in one hit, and I don't think we're going to live the following hit, so I go to Onyx, luckily on a Rock Slide that does a whole 4 damage. Thankfully, Machamp misses a Cross Chop, letting us get a Screech off for free. Unfortunately though, the next Cross Chop does connect, and Onyx goes down. This death isn't great either. Steelix is a very good Pokemon with really great bulk, and I was overzealous thinking it could take a hit here. The upside to this is we get to bring an Amber back in for free, and at -2 defense, a Fly is enough to take out Bruno. 3 down, 2 deaths. This isn't going nearly as well as I would like, but we gotta keep going. Last for the Elite Four is Karen, leading Umbreon into Amber. Headbutt does about a quarter as he connects with a Sand Attack. Our next Headbutt brings Umbreon to half, and he misses a Sand Attack. The Hacks doesn't stop here though, as after our next Headbutt, Umbreon hits a Confuse Ray. It's best to not try to fight through the Hacks, so I bring in Sapphire on a weak Feint Attack. We outspeed and are able to take out the Umbreon with a Surf. Karen brings in Vileplume, so I bring in Garnet on a Stun Spore. Her Acid does some damage as our Flame Wheel brings her down to the red and gets the burn. Unfortunately though, Garnet gets full parried on the next turn, and Vileplume recovers HP with a Moonlight. She connects with a Petal Dance, and our next Flame Wheel takes out Vileplume. This brings out Karen's Gengar, who just goes for a weak Lick, and our Flame Wheel does less than half. She then goes for a Curse, but we miss the KO because of a full para. I pivot into Malachite to get rid of the Curse, and luckily I do so because Gengar goes for Destiny Bond. I play around the next Destiny Bond by putting Gengar to sleep with a Hypnosis, letting us freely take her out the next turn with an Ice Punch. This brings out Murkrow, who connects with a weak Feint Attack, and then gets taken out with a single Ice Punch in return. Last for Karen is her Houndoom. She connects with a strong Crunch, and our Surf doesn't pick up the KO. This lets us go into Sapphire safely as Karen heals though. Flamethrower actually hurts, and our Surf doesn't do enough to KO. I don't remember how many potions Karen has, so I stay in to hit another Surf, as she goes for another Flamethrower. Luckily it doesn't crit though, and our Surf connects to win us the fight. We've made it through the Elite Four, but there's just one more fight standing between us and the Hall of Fame. Lance's team of, I guess, dragons? Is this the same joke I made last time we fought him? Yes. Is it still accurate? Also, yes for some reason. Lance's first mon is Gyarados, so I lead Garnet. We outspeed, so our Thunder Punch should be able to get the KO here. Or so I thought. Luckily he just goes for a Rain Dance, so we can take him out the next turn with a Quick Attack. This brings in Lance's Aerodactyl next. We go to Malachite on a Rock Slide that crits. His Wing Attack brings us low, but our Rain boosted Surf is easily enough to take him out. Lance's first Dragonite comes out, and unfortunately is the one with Thunder, so Sapphire takes half from it on the switch in. I don't have another play, so Sapphire is going to have to tank another one. Which he does! With that, our Ice Beam easily takes out Dragonite. But now there's another Dragonite for Lance. I go to Amber, and my heart stops for a second when I see Blizzard come out. But Amber clutches up and dodges it. Anticipating another one, I go to Garnet. But unfortunately it's a Thunder Wave that comes out from Dragonite. So now we've got to break through even more paralysis. Blizzard connects, but does very little. And honestly our Thunder Punch does about the same. Lance sends out a Twister, and we fail to attack. Another Blizzard comes out, bringing us below half, as our Thunder Punch brings him right above half. Then, Dragonite connects with a huge Hyper Beam, which is way overkill to take out Garnet. If I had a nickel for every starter I lost in the Elite Four, yeah, you get the joke. This lets us safely bring in Amber, connect with an Ancient Power, and take out Dragonite. Charizard is next out for Lance, and clearly another Ancient Power is enough to take him out, bringing in the last Dragonite. Ancient Power connects, does half, and we finally get an Omni boost. Lance locks into Outrage, but 2 Headbutts are enough to take out the last Pokemon of the Elite Four. We had a really rough Elite Four, and I really do account that to terrible prep on my end. Emerald, Onyx, and Garnet all paid the price for it. But we still got a whole other region to clear out to get to the true final boss. Now, this video is already going to be long, so we can skip over most of Kanto. The level caps of the Kanto gyms are all over the place, from Janine's insanely low 39 to Blaine's cap of 50. To be able to use the level caps accordingly, I use what I'm going to call the B team. We did get a few encounters in Kanto to help with the gyms, but really only one will matter for our story. Lava Stone, the Slugma. Sodalite the Tentacruel did get hit with an explosion on Janine, accounting for our only death through the 7 gyms, which, unfortunately, is another really good encounter lost. But we've made it to our 16th gym fight in this run, former champion Blue. He leads his trusty Pidgeot, and like many times before, we lead Amber. We fire off an Ancient Power for massive damage, and get the Omni Boost! Unfortunately, Pidgeot goes for a Whirlwind, bringing out Diamond. He misses his Rock Throw, and this time Whirlwind brings in Hamburgite. Pidgeot connects with a Wing Attack, and Body Slam takes out the bird. Alakazam is out next, setting up a Reflect, meaning our Body Slam isn't enough to get the KO. Zam stalls us out a few turns with Recover, but eventually our Body Slam gets the Para, so now Hamburgite outspeeds and can finish off Blue's second Pokemon as Reflect goes down. Next out for Blue is Rhydon, so Malachite comes in on a weak Fury attack. We outspeed, and Surf takes out Rhydon. Executor comes in now, so Malachite connects with an Ice Punch to do over half. Thankfully, Eggy's only grass attack is Solar Beam, so a second Ice Punch is able to take him out while we go back to full HP thanks to our leftovers. Gyarados is up next, but Malachite misses his Hypnosis, allowing Gyarados to hit a Hyper Beam for half our HP. Thankfully, our second Hypnosis connects. Blue uses a full Restore to wake Gyara up, our Body Slam hits for about a quarter, and gets the Para. Thanks to that, we're able to outspeed Gyarados now, so our next Body Slam brings him below half, as Hydro Pump brings us to right above half. Another Body Slam puts Gyara into the red, and he connects with another Hyper Beam. Luckily not critting. Finally, another Body Slam takes out the oversized fish, bringing in an Arcanine to replace him. I'm sure he sees a KO with extreme speed, so I bring Amethyst in safely. The next turn, she hits a Hypnosis, so the big dog takes a nap. Once again, Blue uses a full Restore to wake up his Mon, as our Psychic does about a third. Another Psychic brings Arcanine into the red, as his Flamethrower brings Amethyst to below half. We are safe to take the KO here with a third Psychic, winning us the fight. With that, we have officially claimed our final badge, and one final prep session later, we start our climb to the top of Mount Silver. Once there, we challenge the silent prodigy himself, Red. He leads his Pikachu, but he's easily dispatched by an Earthquake from Amber. This brings out Blastoise, so I swap out to Hamburgite on a Rain Dance. Red traps us in with a Whirlpool as we go for damage with Body Slam. Surf comes out and brings Hamburgite to about half, and our next Body Slam brings him down to the red. Another Surf brings us low, but Hamburgite came prepared and takes a short rest. In the meantime, Blastoise goes for another Rain Dance, and we are freed from the Whirlpool. I see this as a great time to get Hamburgite out of here, so I bring in Malachite in on another Surf. He outspeeds Blastoise and finishes him off with a Body Slam, allowing Red to bring in his Venusaur. But Venusaur's only grass move is Solar Beam, so Malachite is safe to fire off an Ice Punch, and Venusaur changes the weather with a sunny day. This seems like a great time to go to Lava Stone, but with how much she takes from Solar Beam, we can't stay in. Anticipating another Solar Beam, I bring in Amethyst, who then hits a Psychic, taking out Venusaur. Red brings in his own Snorlax next, so Amethyst fires off his Confuse Ray, but Snorlax breaks through and sets up 2 Amnesias as we miss a Hypnosis. Our second one connects, meaning we can go to Tiger's Eye as Snorlax stays asleep. And now, it's time to get a little hacks ourselves. With Snorlax being at +4 special defense, I think it's best that we try to Toxic Stall him down. The problem is, Snorlax can still attack while he's asleep thanks to Snore. So, to be able to take him on, Tiger's Eye starts using Flash and Moonlight to stall Snorlax until he wakes up, when we are finally able to hit a Toxic. While the Toxic chips away at Snorlax, we can go for Chip with Feint Attack, and heal up when needed with Moonlight. After a few turns, Snorlax goes down, and Charizard comes out for red. We go back to Malachite on a Flamethrower, and we get trapped in with this Fire Spin as we bring him down super low with a Surf. The next turn, Charizard goes for a Wing Attack for some more damage, and our follow-up Surf takes him out. This leaves just Espeon for red, so after tanking a Psychic, Malachite connects with one last Hypnosis, hits a Body Slam, and brings back in Tiger's Eye on his weak Swift. One more Feint Attack is enough to take out Espeon, and with that, we have finally won. Crystal was a little rough for us. We came in with only 2 deaths to our name, and now we've got several more to add to that list. Jet the Alakazam, Emerald the Victory Bell, Onyx the Steelix, Garnet the Typhlosion, and Sodalite the Tentacruel. Meaning these lines are going to be removed from any potential encounters we have moving forward as well. But we are moving into Emerald with a stacked roster of Pokemon. Amber the Aerodactyl, Malachite the Palitoad, Tiger's Eye the Umbreon, Hamburgite the Snorlax, Lava Stone the Magcargo, and Amethyst the Gengar. In the past, Emerald is where I failed this challenge multiple times. We've got a long road ahead of us, but with our team by our side, I think the future is bright. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Carl for editing this. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and comment what our next nickname theme should be for Emerald. Until next time, everyone, peace.